Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the VR Master League. My name is NightFiree with 2 E's. I'm here with my co-caster, Noman with a 4. How are you today, sir?
Man, I'm back at the desk.
No, it feels good.
Cast number 2. We're here. We're bringing it. We're doing it. How you doing, buddy?
I was so lonely for 2 weeks without my fellow co-casters, but they have returned. It is a glorious day in the Master League. I'll say that.
Amen to that, brother. Amen to that. We got a sweet matchup, dude.
Yeah, I'm excited. Tonight, we have Silent But Deadly versus Mob Squad. Go ahead and take a look at the... what is their overall... What is the worldwide ranking? Should have pulled that up first.
So Silent But Deadly is 19th worldwide. Mob Squad is 17th worldwide. Both silver, so silver matchup here.
Yeah, this should be good. I've been noticing a lot of increased quality of play in the middle tier of the league. Silver teams are definitely stepping up. The communication is on point for these, you know, like they're calling out their kills, they're confirming, they're throwing nades. It's getting way more competitive in the VRML.
Yeah, I mean, the games all are starting to look as professional as, you know, some of the top tier teams, even for teams that have only been around for a short period of time or have restructured or whatever. Yeah, I agree. There's some really cool stuff coming out of everybody.
I don't have a lot of time because I think we are going to be hopping into this round pretty shortly, but we'll look over the pick bans coming out of Silent But Deadly. We have the Cargo ban. And from Mob Squad, we have Downfall. Kind of two very opposite styles of ban.
Yeah, it is, but it makes sense for both teams to run it. Mob Squad is a real short-range team. They very much thrive in the short range, the mid-range engagements. So taking Cargo off the table is a good way to, you know, to sort of throttle Semper's long-term livability that he's got on some of the shorter maps. And at the same time, Mob Squad needs to take Downfall off the map because I know Silent But Deadly do like their long to mid-range engagements. So it's kind of, they really are cutting off, you know, sort of the most beneficial map for the other team. And yeah, I mean, that's what bans are for. So it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. And then coming out of Silent But Deadly's map choice for map number 1, we have Quarantine. So kind of going into, I guess, what is the second longest range map available to them, trying to spread Mob Squad out maybe, trying to get this first map under their belt, nice little lead, see what they can do with it. And we're not wasting any time. We're not even going to go over the active roster maybe until after this round 1, which we are firing up right now. Round 1, map 1 on Quarantine. Mob Squad versus Silent But Deadly.
Yeah, I am stoked for this. So we've got this garage objective. We've got the quick spawn. So maybe not the long range that Silent But Deadly was hoping for.
Yeah,
right
seriously.
off the bat.
Here I'm talking strategy there. As long as they're not spotted early, this could be a pretty detrimental spawn here for Mob Squad, because look at where STB House and Plots are positioned, super exposed to the south side. They didn't see anybody crossing that street early. That's kind of one of the first indicators that they may be spawned over there. And Plots here does spot out 4Q, but can't win that exchange. And 4Q picking up one early for SBD. 5:30 in, and they're moving fast.
Yeah, they've got to capitalize. I mean, House gets out of that position a little bit. Well, actually, sorry, right on time. Tosses a nice little nade over, but doesn't catch anybody out. Yeah, now Mob Squad's going to reposition. They've got to find a way to make this push happen, right? If they stall out here too long, the defense can sort of rotate and adjust. And now it's a good time to catch them out early, so we'll see what they do here.
Yeah, a lot of Mob Squad is rotating right now. Doc over here on the corner does have an opportunity to cross this smoke or push forward. STB House right on the corner, catches one in Rush of Light, tries to answer back but can't. Things out into a 4v4. More shots fired from Bluega.
Not bad.
Almost team killing one of his own on the ambulance position there.
2 down, 2 down.
And Rush of Light there, a little too A little too passive on that corner. I should have expected that there was still one there. Not sure what the point of going towards the dead body is, but now Dr. Sean and Vortex here are going to be making their push onto the objective. Semper's the first one and really the only one they have to deal with here right off the bat.
Sean's pushed up. House is rotating on the backside, catches out Sean, getting dangerously close to objective. Key rotation, and it's a 2v4 now. Mob Squad looking good. A little exchange of fire earlier there between Enigma and Vortex, so they do know where House is. He's on the other side of that building, rotating around. Does have a chance.
Yeah, it's important to note. I think this is Vortex's first game with SBD, like the first one he's actually played in, because I think he just came off cooldown. So we'll see how he performs here as a former Ember player and transition the last couple of weeks over to SBD. Definitely a great player to add to the roster. And we'll see if him and Enigma here can put together a little something for the offense. 3 minutes left.
STB House just stays tucked in. I think his defensive position here is going to be probably the best one. They already naded this this spot when they first came towards objective, so they may assume that it's cleared. Vortex does spot STB House getting a little aggressive on the rotations, and that aggression does pay off. STB House picking up one, or I guess maybe his third? His fourth. Jeez, STB House is going for that full wipe. If he gets aggressive here, he may be able to find it. You should just follow this guy. He's killing everybody. Semper is actually the one that does find that final kill up over the little ridge line there. Mob Squad taking a nice, pretty easy round number 1. And it was looking good at the start there for Silent but Deadly, finding that early pick. They just weren't able to, I don't know, move fast enough, I guess, off of it. And they kind of got counter-pushed by STB House there. Did I lose Noman? Oh, maybe it's all just me. I'm all alone again. Might be having some technical difficulties on his end. Do apologize for that. I'll hash that out shortly, or he'll be back. No worries there, but a great round for Mob Squad. STB House 4-0, R Semper 1-0. 4Q with that early pick for Silent but Deadly. I think now is probably a good time to look at the active rosters. Right as round number 2 is about to fire up, we have Phonic 6161, Plots, STB House, Bluega, and R Semper on Mob Squad. And on Silent but Deadly, we have Enigma, Rush of Light, 4Q, Dr. Sean, and the new addition, Vortex. Let's see how he continues to play. We hop into round number 2 of map 1, Silent but Deadly versus Mob Squad, a battle of the middle tier.
Good luck, you guys. Have fun.
See if Dr. Sean gets any more aggressive. Sometimes they can send one up this dune here, get real aggressive, and you throw a pre-nade at this corner or at that gap up over this hill. You can try and catch an early spawn. It's super risky though, just because of the other potential spawns that could be right here on this north side waiting for you. So they're not going to send anybody up to try and take control of the rooftop or push this Mob Squad offense right now. SDB House nearly goes down.
Lock me down.
Some shots from Ambulance. 4Q there. A risky spot, to say the least. If he
Keep
gets
your eye out for the
an
rebound for a
LMG
second.
dumping rounds through this ambulance, I believe this ambulance still is fully penetrable. So all it takes is a hefty amount of gunfire through the ambulance to down 4Q here. Maybe he's aware of that. Drops back to a spot where he can tuck in. Plots, finds Enigma. Way south. You look at that map there, you can see him. He was on that middle south of the map there. Over on that. Oh, what a great spot by Plots. That is an incredibly long-range shot, too.
First house behind those.
It does put Mob Squad up into a 5v4 early. Very similar to how Silent but Deadly kicked off their round as well, but see how Silent but Deadly defend. Totally different approach coming out of Mob Squad. The north side being utilized here. Obviously the spawn very different as well. That south spawn that Silent but Deadly got is rather tough to work with. If you get it, you can play it like they did, or you can be exposed very quickly by trying to cross. Phonic is taking the long route. Dr. Sean should be pretty... This is a nice spot here. I like this. He's using the little lip of the building to stay completely covered from anybody behind him on the west. He doesn't have an angle there, but he's drawn in to where 3 out of the 5 Mob Squad are about to approach onto this corner.
I am finally back. Apologies for that, NightFiree. We had a bit of a power outage here.
Oh.
Yeah, a little something to spice up the cast, you know?
Well, you're back, and Dr. Sean has taken out one of Mob Squad. Evens it up to a 4v4. Should give information to SDB House, and I do expect this nade to be coming out right onto the corner. Dr. Sean is located, and then a bad toss does cost SDB House his life. And an insta-kill at that. He will not be resable. The worst case scenario there. He tried to toss the nade around the corner and botched the toss. Now Dr. Sean tries to throw a frag of his own, nearly kills himself there as well, and Plots and Sean on the corner. Sean finds one. Now, Silent but Deadly into a 4v2. Very similar how it shook out for Silent but Deadly on the offense.
Yeah, he's going to have to worry about Phonic with all this rotation he's doing. But he does rotate out of that situation. So the offense now real disjointed. They got a long way to go before they catch up to each other. Semper here making a slightly more direct approach, I would say. But honestly, look at that defense. I think they're just 1 kill away from a cap. 4Q does find Semper there in the center courtyard. Now it's just up to Phonic.
He is in a very dangerous spot, dude. If he just heard Rush of Light call out, he's going to peek the corner. Does find Rush, and now he's here on objective. Can Silent but Deadly crash back fast enough, and can Phonic tuck in and punch the coke quick enough? A nade comes out. It doesn't go well. Phonic is here, and he's punching it in. This is going to be a Mob Squad 3-0 if he can get it in time. Vortex and 4Q, they can't get there. And Mob Squad go up 3-0.
That is real unfortunate, and that's the problem with a defense that is that widespread. You sort of expect everybody to do their job, you know, to not let anybody through, but once somebody slips in through a crack, it gets real difficult to come back and keep that objective locked down.
I mean, you called it just before it happened. There's one man separating the cap, and right as Phonic got to that corner, whoever was there radioed in, and that, you know, really gave away the position. I think Phonic could have been shot there. Phonic could have just, you know, kept his path straight towards objective and been picked off, but just a series of unfortunate events playing out. Pretty good reaction from Silent but Deadly. They all crashed towards objective as soon as those shots went off, but they were all too far.
Yeah, they were. He was so close to getting that angle too.
He really was.
He came around. He was right there. But yeah, Phonic had just enough time to put in that code nice and speedy. That was a pretty average cap length, I would say, from what I've seen. Not didn't take too long, especially with the shaky hands one can get from a stressful situation like that. So good on him for that cap. But yeah, that has got to be. That's got to feel pretty bad for Silent but Deadly here. They're going to have to put together some kind of offense to stay on the board here in map 1 because you really don't want to lose your first map pick of the series. That's doesn't set a good precedent for the rest of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you know, it is kind of interesting. I feel like even though this is a longer range map, we haven't had very many long range. I guess Plots did get a very long range shot off. Probably about as long range as you can get on this map. But I mean, they've been playing it pretty tight. They used that west side on the approach. Silent but Deadly had that fast spawn. So maybe I don't know. Silent but Deadly just need a bit of a longer. Slow it up a little bit. Try and slow play Mob Squad a little bit. Catch out the aggression. I think that's step 1. Because I think Mob Squad. If I'm Silent but Deadly, I'm expecting Mob Squad to play aggressive here. Send at least STB House way forward looking for kills. So that's something that they can take advantage of if they're ready for.
Yeah, and I think they were playing it right in the first round as well. They were talking about grabbing themselves a pick early, right? Grabbing a defensive member early. But the problem there was they didn't really capitalize on that man advantage, right? They sort of kept everybody tucked behind buildings and more or less waited for Mob Squad to try to run into their guns, and that's what gave STB House the opportunity to sort of push the advantage on the ambulance side, grab himself 2 kills there, and then it all sort of fell apart. So they just have to keep that momentum going when they do get the pick. And I think that's what they're going to be looking for here in this 3rd round once it kicks off, which is right now.
No more waiting around. Round 3, map 1. Silent but Deadly versus Mob Squad is live. Silent but Deadly's map pick so far not paying off for them. They go into the offensive 0-3.
Same plan?
Same plan. Good luck, you guys. Have fun.
They do seem to be having a good time, though. Wishing each other good luck. Very, quality stuff there. Quality sportsmanship.
Hey, man. Keeping your chin up in this game is a strategy in and of itself, you know?
Absolutely, and here's the aggression. Vortex catches out our Semper, trying to push up, and Dr. Sean may come down to STB House if he's not ready for him behind the dumpster. He does have gun up. He does confirm Semper. Semper was calling that out. House peeks up and catches out Dr. Sean with a nice refrag, and we're into a 4v4 with 5.5 left.
House is in trouble here. If that rooftop gets set up and spots him out early, he's going to have a hard time, but they do have Bluega coming up on the rooftop here, and I think the offense may be aware of him. Rush of Blade is watching this corner, and it's all going to come down to this trade. If they can grab this trade, there's a huge advantage for Marsoc to have, but Rush of Light gives up on the corner a little too early. Bluega's going to spot him out, grab that kill, and now Vortex is going to have to deal with this situation all on his own.
Flashbang tossed. Vortex botches his nade while he's blind and downs himself on the roof. Bluega rotates up, and he's going to confirm his 2nd kill on the rooftop here and have control. We're into a 3v3. All the while this was going on, Enigma on the south.
Yeah, Plots is in a pretty standard position there for this objective. Anybody coming across the south definitely needs to watch out for that 3-story and the motel.
That is so far away, though.
It is, but with the number of people alive and the count they have, it's not a bad play necessarily. And especially with the fact that they have, you know, at minimum 3 rounds to play with, they can be a little bit more spread out. 4Q finds a nice shot there onto Bluega.
Was that through the wall? Was that a clipping of?
No, I think he cut the corner there. Okay. Yeah, I think he cut.
And yeah, they got to react. The spot that Semper's in is no good anymore. He has to rotate and get closer. They could have a very similar situation happen to them. 4Q, if he pushed up now and was aggressive, he could potentially find himself with a cap.
Yeah, Phonic is not in a great spot to watch this North Cross. He might be able to catch a little bit of 4Q as he comes across the road, but it's a tough shot to make from that position. There's not a whole lot of sort of open gun space that you can utilize to try to shoot somebody through. But 4Q's got to move. That's the key here.
3.5, and I think he's trying to slow play it a little bit, try and find himself another pick before he makes his move there. I don't think any of Mob Squad have a... I don't know if they know where he is right now. I don't know if they're aware he's in that rooftop courtyard. I'm looking at where Phonic is peeking. He is kind of checking over there. Watching over through that gap best as he can, trying to check the rubble in the rooftop, but...
I have a feeling that Plots might think it's the East HQ objective. Are you getting that same feeling? Because why would you be that far back at this stage?
Yeah, I thought that was Semper over there, but yeah, Plots over there. It's so... I guess you're covering the south, and now look where Phonic is rotating to, super far north. They're like... They have this huge gap in the center. 4Q could just run right up the middle and cap on objective right now.
I mean, he needs to do it now. If Phonic grabs that rooftop, it's pretty much all over. There's no hope of crossing.
Moving. He's taking his time on that dune there, checking the ambulance position. And if 4Q times it proper and moves now, just as Phonic loses that line of sight and pushes into tank courtyard, he has a chance. Phonic has taken control of roof. 4Q is tucked into the bush. Pretty tough to see with that headset on, but now as he crosses the street, he's out in the open. Has the palms disguising him. And oh my goodness, I just don't think Phonic has the angle here to see him. Now he should.
He has got to be vigilant about watching this courtyard. That's the key. I mean, as a player, you always have to be aware of every part of your surroundings, especially when you're the last one alive. But
how was 4Q not spotted right there as he pushed out? And Phonic doesn't have the line of sight onto objective right now. I think you're right that Plots is totally wrong on what objective it is. I wonder if Phonic spots him here.
Yeah, I think
he does.
Just see him. The shots are coming out.
He didn't land him. 4Q looks for the refrag, can't find the headshots, and if he pushes objective right now, he can cap. Wraps around the turbine, now he's safe.
45 seconds on the clock. Plots has to be moving. Plots is still sitting in the far back.
And that's a good smoke. 4Q drops back. I think Phonic realizing he's not good up here, and 4Q's pushing on objective right now. 30 seconds left. He has to pull pad and cap, and it's so easy. And Silent but Deadly are going to answer back. No nade from Phonics to deny this on the corner. And 4Q solo clutching for his team and keeping them in this map 1.
I mean, okay. Here's my question to you,
Nate. I don't know why Plots was there.
The question was, could that have failed for 4Q? You know what I mean? Like, yes, he could have. He could have run out at the wrong time, and Phonic could have spotted him. Sure, but realistically, like, he had basically 2-minute windows on either side of Phonic's rotation, where he could have just sprinted up to the middle of
it. It didn't have to be that hard. No, it could have been much easier, absolutely. But we have the advantage of seeing this sort of thing from a bird's eye. Either way, you never see that much separation of a player on the Volk team from their objective in a gold or higher tier team. Like they never get that far away from objective, because things like that could happen. You lose your one guy that's holding objective, and you got a 2-point capped on you right underneath your nose in a 1v4, you know? And then also, you separate your twos so far away from the objective that it's an easy entry point for the last surviving member of Silent but Deadly. And I guess I would say mistakes on both defensive sides here, allowing for those 2 caps to come in. But either way, they did come in. Good job of the offense to utilize that the mistakes. And I mean, get ourselves a bit of a match now. Silent but Deadly can run this back.
Yeah, definitely. They've got this defensive round. Now I think they've got that fire under them in order to hold it. And they've got a pretty challenging objective to be their sort of their final stand, right? I mean, this we just saw what can happen if you don't have the right positioning on it, and you have to assume that they're not going to try to make that same mistake again. But what I found a lot as a player on this particular objective is it's very, very important to grab the spawn locations as quickly as possible when you're on defense, because that really is how you orientate your players, where you put which positions you cover, who pushes, does the south make a flank, does the north make a flank, all that kind of stuff's really important to figure out as quickly as possible. And I think that's going to make or break Silent but Deadly's defense here, is whether or not they can catch out that spawn early and isolate Mob Squad.
We'll see what sort of spawn Mob Squad gets. With this objective, you don't really have anything too fast or unorthodox that you can take advantage of. It's pretty straightforward, left or right lane, and see which one they get and how Silent but Deadly respond.
Yeah, so they do grab the south spawn. Marsoc spawn's going to be on the south street there, so it won't be an easy check. But generally speaking, if you've got one guy watching the north, you don't see action there, it's a pretty safe bet they spawned on the south side. So we'll see how they decide to set this up. And I'm curious which way Mob Squad's going to choose to push this.
They do send out some early smokes, indicating at a cross. Plots and STB House do catch Enigma. Trying to rotate. 4Q pushes up. He has some easy shots here on the Plots and STB House. STB House, though, is charged in and is sprinting underneath, trying to the nose of Silent but Deadly. 4Q catches him out. I think Plots was trying to call that out, but couldn't quite do it in time. We're into a 4v4 with one Resable.
Now it's an even split. 2 on the south, 2 on the north. 4Q finds Semper on the backside there, all the way in the far south. It's just a down. I wonder here if Plots is going to try to get the kill and then the revive, or if he's just going to go and rotate and grab the revive. There is going to be a defensive revive as well on that southeast side. Dr. Sean's heading towards Enigma's position to pick that res up as well, and that's going to put 5 members back on the board for Silent but Deadly.
Good res from Sean. Bluega turning it back into a 4v3 and pushes up, getting dangerously close to a few other members of Silent but Deadly. One in that engine turbine. Phonic tried to catch one on the backside with LMG as well. And it's fire all across the north. And now we have fire across the south. Enigma catching out Plots. That makes 2 for him down there. And it's now, if he goes and confirms those, a 2v4 for Mob Squad.
Double tap. I see somebody on the roof.
Some good call-outs here. King Rush of Light into that rooftop position. Belega getting a little over-aggressive, gets caught out by Enigma. And now it's a 3v2. And look at that. I mean, and again, out of Silent but Deadly, we have a really long, I don't know, exposed defensive hole here. Dr. Sean so far away from objective on the north, getting a little over-aggressive, and I think maybe he realizes that as he starts to rotate a bit closer. They really don't have any emergency defense. Rush of Light is the closest to the objective if Vortex goes down. And it's again that sort of one man holding the defensive line while the rest back up. I don't know. It's an interesting strategy. I don't really know how else to position in this map because it is so prone. A lot of positions are so prone to nades.
Yeah, definitely. Vortex has got to practice some patience here. But Phonic on the south side looking to get Semper up here. This is going to be a huge turning point for Mob Squad if they can get him up. There it is. 3-3 now is the play.
And Phonic and Semper just missing the rotation from Doctor as he pushes into that courtyard area. Bluega goes down as he gets a little aggressive. Tries to go in for the cap, and Now they've sort of rebuffed their defense on objective, and they have Sean and Vortex here. And, you know, that Overwatch position does pay off. They did catch one, and so now we're into a 2v3.
Callouts will still be available there, Bluega, not entirely out yet, still resable. Phonic here should have been hearing that set of footsteps. He does indeed, and grabs himself a kill, and now it's just up to Semper here on the far south side. His position's given away. He's going to have a pretty tough time making a trek towards the objective. Dr. Sean, the first obstacle here. Semper's going to find him, though.
I think Rush of Light took some shots at Semper, too, from his position. So if Semper's savvy enough, he should be checking there. I think that's what he might be trying to do with the stairs here. He has a great angle onto that turbine defensive position. He somehow doesn't spot it just out of his field of view. He's checking hotel now. Still hasn't caught just the silhouette. He finds one. Rush of Light. Can he clutch this and win the 1v1 now?
Yeah, there's still a lot of players on the field, as it were. For callouts, he does spot him out.
But the trade goes into the favor of Silent but Deadly, and we're going to a round 7 in map 1.
Oh, man. Rip Sleepy's inbox. It's over, folks. It's gone. His inbox just exploded. Oh, that was a very nice shot by Vortex, though.
Yeah.
That is a tough shot to make.
I didn't expect the trade to go off there. I thought that was definitely a round to Mob Squad, but Vortex managing to hang in and getting the kill first. Wow.
Well, there it is. I mean, so we went 3 points in the favor of Mob Squad with a defense and a cap, and then Silent but Deadly brings it all the way back, grabs themselves a cap and then a defense, and now we're all tied up on the series. Mob Squad has to hold this defense. The objective, not amazing. Honestly, not the one you want as your defensive objective. This is going to be the center burning objective right next to the burning rubble. I think it's probably the least good one for defense, just because it's sort of similar to the last one, very centralized, easy to approach from a bunch of different angles, and is really, again, going to come down to can they identify spawn and isolate the offense.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can, you know, Silent but Deadly is unfortunate enough, in my opinion, to get that south spawn again. I feel like that's definitely going to be the hardest one to work with on this objective. You can identify that spawn pretty quick if you're fortunate, and depending how SBD come out, you know, it's so spawn. This is really, it'll be interesting. I think that we'll see. We'll see. It's happening right now. We don't have to theorize anymore. Yeah, they get the middle, so that's probably one of the better spots. I was gonna say that or Crater will definitely work in Silent but Deadly's favor. They can play it a little bit slower. Again, try and utilize the over-aggression of Mob Squad, get those early picks, and make their way down onto objective.
So they did get 2 across to the north. That is going to be key. Controlling the north is really important for this objective, specifically rooftop and rooftop courtyard are very, very important in trying to make your approach to this objective, but unseating those 3 in burning is going to be especially tricky. They're all stacked up like that. It's pretty difficult without, you know, some pretty solid grenade throws to try to get those guys out of there one by one.
This lane here is so risky to be crossing. 4Q and Rush of Light both kind of checking and crossing it there. There's a really good rubble spot that if there was one, a Volk defender could have a great line of sight down here. But they're fortunate enough that lane isn't being covered. You can see 4Q is kind of quick checking that just to see if he can bait out some shots before they make their push.
Movement.
Yeah, and I'm hearing the communications coming out of Enigma here, just letting his team know to sort of just hold up a little bit and let the north get into position, which is that communication and that strategy we're talking about. before the game that we're seeing a lot more of, and that's definitely going to help them out. But they're first going to have to deal with STB House here, who is in a very cheeky little spot. He's not exposed, but he does have sight lines through. Oh, my apologies. Yeah, Camera 2 has House behind the green car.
I've been bouncing around to the same random spot on the map for the last minute and a half trying to figure out what the heck you're talking about.
Yeah, so House is really just using this as recon, right? He's not playing it too aggressive. He just wants to be able to spot him out, but I don't think he caught Vortex rotating up to the rooftop. So I think that could be a big loss for Mob Squad if they're not killed.
Finds Dr. Sean on the south. Sean is trying to prone his way up that street. Pretty risky operation. They're just trying to split their way up. I don't know why you do that, because you know you have that clear lane. Enigma does catch out House in that forward defensive position, and now it's a 4v4. They have control of rooftop, so Vortex does have the potential of taking out Plots, and Plots, vice versa, could toss a well-placed nade up to the roof and catch out Vortex. That's exactly what he's trying to do. Goes up and over, and a great toss. Downs him. He's not out, so Plots is going to have to react and push forward onto that rooftop if he wants to confirm that kill.
Okay, that rotation's going to get punished. 4Q is waiting for him to make it. Catches Plots out on that backside, and now Enigma's got a nice, easy res to pick up, and it's potentially a 4v3.
Could be. Bluega does almost... No, he's just taking some pause shots at what he thought was a Marsoc push. But yeah, Enigma's going to be able to get this pretty free and easy. Should be able to crouch up there, res off Vortex, and we're into a 4v3. Rooftop control, really important here. It is going to be... Bluega does have some chances here on the back, but 4Q picks him off before he can get angles onto the rooftop. And that's huge. Denying that back guard now puts so much pressure onto Phonic and Semper.
All right, the res comes out. There's a little bit more strategizing going. So a lot of this is happening on the fly. This is what we would consider audibles, I suppose.
Yeah.
These players sort of discussing their next move, which makes sense if your original plan hasn't quite gone the way you'd want. But they need a lot more smoke coverage in that burning rubble, because that is where the bulk of the defenders are right now. 4Q got lucky there. Semper not able to spot him out through that corner. But lots of rotations happening for the defense there. 4Q's kind of got a shooting gallery here.
Yeah. Does miss some shots, and now here are those smokes you're talking about that they needed. Throws one up, but it doesn't angle the proper way, and Semper has an easy shot. Takes down one. LMG fire raining in over Semper's head towards Rush of Light, who's now pushed up to center rubble.
Rush has got to play this slow, but the shots are ringing out towards him. Enigma's going to find Semper from all the way up, in Coachella, Coach Alley. It's a Blaze call out. I made a Blaze call out. Now it's just up to Phonic here on the objective. He really has to stay alive, but Rush of Light's on the wall. He's camping.
Yep, and they're just going to take it. They're not going to go for that kill. They're not going to risk it with 50 seconds left. Rush is going to punch in an easy code, and Silent but Deadly are going to run the comeback from an 0-3 deficit on Mob Squad. I mean, when is it coming in? There it is. Finally, Rush of Light caps, and Silent but Deadly take map 1 5-3.
There it is. That excitement is absolutely warranted. 5 unanswered points after Mob Squad opens up.
2 caps.
Yeah, 3 caps. That's 3 caps on the game. I mean, that's fantastic. Both teams played really well, but yeah, Mob Squad there, just maybe a little bit too aggressive. I do understand that feeling though. You tell your guys, we got all the rounds in the world, right? We can't lose. Yeah. And then you sort of never buckle down and try to lock down the objectives, and you don't get your offenses going, and that can definitely happen to you. But Silent but Deadly played a hell of an offensive round there.
It was very well done, and I think maybe a couple defensive nades could have gone to some very good use there. Dumping the nade out into the courtyard. That tank courtyard could have denied them the push that they were able to get up the center. STB House going down on the north definitely wasn't ideal. Losing your super separated. I mean, I think it does. It all goes back to their play styles, and that Mob Squad is a close quarters team. You know, maybe they just don't. They haven't really figured out their defensive play style yet on these more open maps. That's what it seems like to me. They're just still sort of experimenting with stuff, sending out defensive team members to go too far, and you know, it's just. We'll see now if that's a continuing trend, because we're going to a much close quarters map for map number 2, and it is going to be Suburbia.
Yeah, and that's a pretty classic Mob Squad pick. Suburbia is definitely one of their favorite stomping grounds, as it were, and it actually kind of rewards that defensive aggression, right? So Quarantine maybe is a little bit too open and has too many lanes to make that a viable strategy, but on Suburbia, sending defenders deep can sometimes really pay off because of those sort of long lanes you can watch in the center. I think that's why Mob Squad thrives here, because they can sort of play that similar style on both offense and defense and quickly run away with the series. But yeah, we'll see what Silent but Deadly does here. I haven't personally had a ton of chances to watch them on Suburbia. But we'll see what they can put together. But yeah, definitely I expect to see Mob Squad out in full force on this map, and especially after that 5-3 loss. That's got to kick you into gear.
They came out so strong too, and they did well on those first couple of rounds and those tight engagements that they were able to find themselves in. If they can do that here on Suburbia, they may just be able to kind of shut down Silent but Deadly before they're able to muster a comeback like they did last map.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll see. I don't think we're seeing any substitutions coming out. Looks like the same roster for both sides. On Mob Squad, Bluega, Plot, Semper, House, and Phonic. And on SBD, 4Q, Enigma, Dr. Sean, Vortex, Rush of Life. Also saw some subs coming out. Appreciate ya. Reminder that all that support from these subs and bits goes back to the casters and mods to help kind of support the league. This is much appreciated. You also get some dank emotes you can be tossing around all across Twitch, not just here.
So good.
So good.
So good. Such good emotes.
The best.
Absolutely.
Some say the greatest. We'll see if Mob Squad musters the comeback that they need to stay in the series as we hop into round 1 of map 2. Celebratory flare being shot off by Silent but Deadly. See if it throws off Mob Squad.
Yeah, they are pumped, they are hyped, but they gotta stay focused. This is not over. Map 1 may be done, but you're on Mob Squad's turf now. You gotta play like it. You got. I don't have my threatening Southern accent on right now, but
interesting angle from House here. Utilizing this curb to get a little bit extra height so he can peek through the windows of the bus.
And Dr. Sean's in trouble if he's actually able to use that window effectively. If he stays relatively motionless, it's a difficult spot to see.
Yeah. And you can even see House is looking right at him, but he can't identify that as a person, a bush, just a piece of wood. He maybe got a little curious, checked his pad.
If he's patient enough, it's definitely going to pay off. But the question is, if the offense starts to move and you need to get your ass in gear, that's when you get punished, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Dr. Sean's going to catch him coming around the bus side. Very nicely, bring Mob Squad down to 4.
I was trying to think what the heck Dr. Sean was doing there, and as soon as I panned over, I see him in his position. He's tucked behind this bush, so making it extra hard to spot him. I mean, the foliage has been kind of like a recent, not recent, but to use the bushes like that. I've seen that in Quarantine lately, too. As one goes down for Silent but Deadly, opens up objective side, and could this be another weak defense coming out of Silent but Deadly? A nade, a clutch nade from Enigma. Saves the round. And now the panic ensues. Smoke's coming out. Enigma crashes. Plots rotating around onto the Humvee. Finds one. It's a 2v3 as Mob Squad crash onto objective.
Yeah, Plots now finds 4Q. Rush of Light really the only spotter here, but now we should be seeing the offense push through. They do indeed. They grab themselves the kill. And Mob Squad's going to go up on their first round of Suburbia here, map 2, but no cap, which definitely could have been a lot worse there for Silent but Deadly.
That nade was clutch from Enigma.
It absolutely was. It seems like it was a practice nade, something they've, from that position he's comfortable with throwing. Didn't quite make the backside of the
it almost failed.
Yeah, that could have been bad. So he got a little lucky there in that the offense slowed up a little bit while he was getting the tab out, but nonetheless saves them the cap, and now they have got to mount an offense of their own here to keep pace with Mob Squad's first offensive.
That was, again there. Out of Silent but Deadly this time instead of Mob Squad. It was just that defense was so I don't know if they didn't rotate fast enough or what, but it's like that's so to have only one defending objective again, such a risk. The proper smokes and a well-placed nade or a good shot open up objective to all sorts of possibilities. He was fortunate that nade he hadn't tucked into the little V yet. If you tuck in between these crates, I'll show you here, you have pretty good coverage from quite a lot of damage. And I think he was getting very close to pushing up there and punching in the code in that little spot. But a fortunate nade rolls out to save the day.
Was a very great push by Mob Squad there. They did all the right things. I think had Dr. Sean gone down a little bit earlier, that could have been a cap. If they hadn't shut down that south approach and been able to focus, or sorry, that east approach, they would not have been able to crash quite as effectively, right? Because then they'd have to sort of split their vision to both sides. Whereas that time they were actually able to dedicate the men right away to watching the objective, and yeah, they all died, but in the end they didn't get capped on, which sometimes you got to take what you can in a series like this.
Round 2, map 2. You could hear Phonic telling his squad here on the west to secure the lane, so they may be going for a bit of a forward defense, and this is more meta, I guess, is to have your This is very aggressive. STB House pushing real far forward, but to push one up here where Bluega is and then tuck in, pretty standard, but Mob Squad are not tucking in. They are continuing their push here. And Enigma behind APC, I wonder if he's going to be ready for 2 just around the corner.
Yeah, he has got to be careful in his rotation here, but he's not going to be checking lane 1. STB House going to grab that kill and the confirm. And now Silent but Deadly already operating without 2, and now they're operating without 3 as Plots picks up Dr. Sean on the backside of center house.
Mob Squad are trying to choke out Silent but Deadly here on their map pick for map number 2. They want to regain the momentum that they had at the start of quarantine and run with that into the series deciding map 3, which will be Silent but Deadly's choice. We're not quite there yet. Rush of Light finds a great double. STB House and Bluega nearly lining up for that shot. We're into a 2v2.
Somebody clip that business for me in Twitch chat. That was a double headshot collateral kill. Very nice. I don't think it was a single bullet, but
I don't
still,
think so either.
Plots does find 4Q also coming out that backside of the house, and now it's just up to Rush of Light. They definitely know his position, but he could still get out of this. If Plots gets a little too aggressive here, he could get punished for it, but he rushes out, and Plots is able to catch him coming out of that center house towards the spawn. Mob Squad grabbed themselves a second round, and now we're in a 2-0 map 2.
They are really fast playing this. I mean, the aggression on that west side is something you see normally on that objective. That's one way of defending. Push up to that burning 18-wheeler defend that hedge there, and it's an aggressive defensive style, but it's definitely one that we've seen. But they just kept pushing, pushed their way up to APC. We're nearly flanking Silent but Deadly on defense. I don't think I kind of got cut off as we were talking about it, but the shrub plays I've seen more of. People, you know, Marsoc tucking into those green shrubs on Quarantine, and then earlier that using that kind of shrub to cover and then shoot through your target over at Bus. It's a nice spot, but it's like a risk reward, right? If somebody just has the idea to pre-fire that spot, you're dead. But if nobody does, you're super hard to identify with a VR headset on. We are underway. Round 3. Map 2. We'll see how Silent but Deadly prepare for the aggression of Mod Squad and the close quarters of Suburbia. It's a tough duo deal with so far for them.
Absolutely. I just described something to my muted microphone, NightFiree. This is the kind of day it's been.
I thought maybe you'd have a power outage again, so I didn't want to...
Power outages and all kinds of things, yeah. No, I do agree that the shrubberies are an interesting new development I've seen a lot more of, especially on maps that we usually never saw it on. But we'll see what happens here. Silent Deadly looking to hold this defense now, get themselves back on the board in map 2, I think. Action here is going to come out from Plots and Enigma and Dr. Sean's positioning first.
Right there, Bluega pre-firing through some bushes right over the head of Dr. Sean. So the bush strategy, very risky. Sean fortunate enough that none of those caught him, and he's still prone in those shrubs. Just waiting. And actually, how many? We have one here prone in those bushes. Enigma is prone in that corner bush. Vortex prone behind a chair. 4Q's behind bushes. And is Rush of Light behind a bush? No, he's underneath a table.
Also behind a bush.
Plot's able to catch him out, though, after Rush of Light finds one. And Bluega catching out 4Q. Vortex with the refrag and a nade confirming 4Q. Nade of his own, actually.
Yeah, I think he was planning to throw that into lane 1. Didn't quite pan out. Vortex saving that a little bit for his team there.
Another one's running to lane 1. Smoke up.
There it is. He grabs himself Phonic, and now it's just up to Plots. Maybe to grab a res here, STB House there in lane 4, and maybe mount some sort of a comeback offense, but he's going to have to deal with Dr. Sean's position first.
Working his way over there. Does seem to be the strat that he has in mind. And House should be able to ID where Sean is. Had this whole time here to be peeking.
Yeah, the callouts had to have been happening. Currently, he is silent. I wonder if he just doesn't want to give away his teammate's position to any defenders in the area. It's another struggle you always have to worry about. You know, you can be making your callouts, and that's great, but you're telling the other team what your play really is.
House called out the position in the bushes, told him to pre-fire it. Plots put some rounds out. Those did not land. Sean still prone there. Finally, Plots finds the easy kill that is Dr. Sean, ultimately without any cover there in the bushes, and we're into a 2v2.
That should be another one done.
Vortex finds House again, and now he is out for good. Very nice little doubled up position there on that porch. It's already found him 3 kills, I think, on the round. He's going to have a tough time getting through lane 3. That is for sure. He'll have to have some quick motions to make it happen, but he gets caught by a couple of bullets. Vortex looking to find his 4th kill, and he does indeed do that. Plots goes down. Silent but Deadly goes up 1 point, and we're in a 2-1. Mob Squad still leading, but Silent but Deadly on the board.
That looked like a much tighter defense from Silent but Deadly than we've seen in the past few rounds. They seemed to have their spots, you know, nicely planned in advance. They were, maybe they're, I don't know, I'm trying to think. Were they also in position when they were getting capped on too? I think they were. So maybe they just need to reevaluate some of their defensive setups.
There was a bit of a rotation there, though.
Okay,
I think on the one, yeah, they because they had some downed defensive members. I think they were already in motion to try to get the res off, and then the callouts came from Rush of Light at objective that there was one on, you know, actually punching in the code, and that's where the grenade came out. So that, they were definitely in motion, but that was you're right, a very sort of locked in practice defense. At least that's what it looked like.
Work out for them. We'll see if they're gonna be ready for that Mob Squad defensive aggression. They could definitely come out here. They could push up lane 2 and 3 pretty fast.
Yeah, from what I remember of Mob Squad plays on this map, this is a very smoke heavy play that they're gonna run here. And it tends to vary, so they're not really locked into one path to the objective, which is what I kind of like about their offenses, is they tend to sort of shake it up. Sometimes they'll smoke out lane 1, try to get across into the backyards. Sometimes they'll mirror that and do a lane 4. Other times they'll just go direct and try to sort of prone up to the objective. So I don't know. It's a fun little crapshoot, but usually the theme is about the same. So we'll see if they maybe change it up here a little bit to deal with Silent but Deadly's offensive approach, and see what they come up with.
Diving into round 4 of map 2. People in chat unappreciative of what's right in front of them, you know. They want, it's like we're feeding them, you're feeding them food and they just want more. It's like the food's right here, just eat it. You don't need more. I got it right here. It's already here already. There's no need for more.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you gotta love the thirst for the action, right? You gotta love it. And there's no shortage of action here as Plot finds Enigma. Dr. Sean answers back, downing Phonics. Semper finds Dr. Sean on the backside, and Silent but Deadly is falling apart. Rush of Light gets dropped as well. 4Q finds himself the refrag, but Semper cleans that up, and now Silent but Deadly, in the span of 35 seconds, down to 1 player.
I'm gonna come back and get you right now.
And just like that, SDB House cinches it up, finds himself Vortex.
Insane aggression.
Lane 4 burning garage. Yeah, there it is. There's the aggression. Either on offense or on defense, doesn't really matter. They're gonna play it that way each time. But, you know, and I'm wondering, as Silent but Deadly, how are you not ready for that aggression at this stage?
I know,
you know what I mean?
Should have prepared for that.
That is definitely, like, that was aggressive to the point where you really could have just sat back and grabbed 1 or 2, you know, real easy kills and then made your approach in peace. Well, we'll see what happens here. So Silent but Deadly should be able to pull off a defensive win here. It's a pretty good objective for that. And depending on if they've got a good way to approach this on the offensive side, they do still have a chance to tie it up, but their defense is going to be the key here. And I don't know. I don't know what to expect on this offense from Mob Squad. Do you have experience with them? Because this is such a unique objective,
yeah,
right?
Middle,
This is so...
the middle house.
Yeah, it's just so... It's always fresh, I feel like. It's hard to see the same play on it more than once.
Diving into round number 5. Very lighthearted, silent but deadly squad here. And we're not seeing a terribly quick push from Mob Squad. Plots does get up pretty quick with some pre-fire. Plots and Belega are here way ahead of the rest of the team. Unsure why, maybe to suss out what their defense was looking like first, but sort of a disconnected push from Mob Squad here.
Yeah, and losing those two this early is what they did not want, but Belega's going to find a nice little headshot and Enigma there. Now it's just 4 all upstairs. The trade comes out. Belega's still revivable, so they're going to need to confirm that as quickly as possible before the offense gets a clean picture, but it doesn't matter. 4Q going to find Phonic coming in through the spawn side. Now just 1 member of the offense remaining. Not surprisingly, it's our Semper. He is going to be making a long rotation, but in that time, his whole team dead and gone. That grenade, not quite what they wanted.
I don't know how Belega didn't get confirmed by that, but somehow still resable, and Semper in the 1v3. Not the sort of push I was anticipating out of Mob Squad. I was expecting a little bit more of that 5-man coordination to come out. That's what they would have needed. If they had sent all 5 up the middle, to be honest, it would have probably worked. But that's an incredibly risky strat, and I think once they had control of bottom floor, middle building, they should have shifted the rest of their team, you know, back through the back door and pushed up together. Otherwise, Semper may find that res onto Belega and turn it into a 2v3. Vortex will have some easy pickings if he peeks the corner, and see how it all shakes out. 3:50 left on the clock.
A lot of discussion happening there, and getting that confirm off just in time.
Yeah.
Semper had the needle in hand.
Interesting to call that, why he would call out there. You know, they didn't know they had him. Semper finds Vortex. A real tight angle, and 4Q peeks briefly and then tucks himself back in. And he's going to wait for Semper to come up those stairs and force that push, while Sean is sort of like their backup. If 4Q goes down, Sean will come out and be looking for that final kill.
In my opinion, that's kind of dangerous, right? I mean, even 4Q's position here, Semper could quietly cap this, I think. Not anymore.
Yeah.
Not with that rotation. If he's on an angle to it, but if you're straight onto that railing, it's not that hard to sort of press the tablet up against the edge there while standing on the stairs and make that cap happen. But that's exactly what 4Q's watching, so that is what they need. The only problem I have with Dr. Sean's position is rotating back into that room can be an easy thing for the offense to catch, right?
Oh, yeah, boy. Hoorah.
Doesn't quite matter there as 4Q finds him making the approach from the front of the house, and Silent but Deadly do put themselves another nice little point on the board and got ourselves another game here in map 2.
Silent but Deadly not rolling over. Even after Mob Squad coming out strong. I mean, yeah, it's hard to do. Losing rounds like they are, there's such fast losses, and then to come back and grab these hard-fought wins, it is impressive. It's not easy to do. the morale has to be always kept at a good level, because if you just start to get down on yourself or feel the slipping of the game, it's so hard to come back from that stuff.
Yeah, tilt is a real thing in this game as it is in any other game. You never wanna go full tilt, because you get inside your own head. You start to question your choices. You start to maybe make bad calls on the field. You gotta keep it light. You know, in the end, it is a vidgy game, and the more fun you have in it, generally the better you do as a team and as players, right? Keep that spirits high, and Silent but Deadly doing a great job of that. Already managing to make one comeback and potentially another one here if they can mount a more successful offense than what Mob Squad put together there.
Oh man, I'm sweating up a storm over here. This game has me wet, Noman.
Moist. It's just 100% moist.
A lot of liquidation over here as we hop into round number 6. Well, this barn burner we've been tuned into. The constant comebacks from Silent but Deadly. Will they be able to deny Mob Squad the aggression that they've been showing on Volk? I don't know. That's going to be the key here. If they can find some early picks, there's some hope.
I got to watch for this potential pre-fire here, and they are going to opt out of going towards lane 3 right off the bat. Luckily for them, not a lot of pre-fire coming out. Vortex looking for that advantage on the flower pot, but that was moved by the developers, so it no longer offers that advantage.
Interesting. Does opt for a different flower pot, tucks himself into a shrub, and is waiting for that Mob Squad aggression. 4Q goes down from a nicely tossed nade. Sorry, Plots goes down, rather, from 4Q. Bluega is going to rotate around and get that res. They're going to drop back, nearly getting caught out in their rotation.
Russia Light here is about to get punished by Semper. If he makes this quick peek, indeed he does. Russia Light is out of the mix, and now they're working with 4, but Bluega is going to get a team kill onto Semper's position, and another team kill from Phonic on the
Oh
Plots.
my gosh, while Sean picks up Bluega on the backside, it's now a 1v4 as 4Q finds Phonic. What a terrible turn of events for Mob Squad. And this is the worst case scenario. House, realizing he's the last one alive, crashing into objective just to defend, making sure nobody's here capping, clears out the house, and then tucks himself in. And he's their last line of defense.
I mean, that could not have been any worse. Like, I feel like I
couldn't even follow it all. I'm not sure what happened on the team kill front either.
Well, our Semper was in a position that was a little bit tucked in on the backside there in the garden behind carport.
I saw that team kill. I didn't see the C4 team kill, though.
Yeah, that one I think was... So the rotation that came from, who was it, Plots and the other guy that revived him, I can't remember who, Bluega, I think. I think it was Bluega, because Semper was already dead at that point. But they had rotated towards the front of the house to get out of the backside, and I think as they were rushing up into the center house, the defender upstairs, yeah, I think he mistakenly thought it was the offense, detonated the C4 early.
Gosh.
And then I think that the person who got C4'd was holding a grenade and then killed the person upstairs. It was a mess. It was an absolute mess, NightFiree, and it could not have been worse for them. And I mean, Silent but Deadly here has got to be thinking cap, because that is the end of this series and the end of this map.
I don't think they have any idea that there's only one left, though. They've only confirmed maybe 2. There's been so many team kills. Silent but Deadly have to assume there's maybe at least 2 or 3 up here in the middle. And Vortex realizes there isn't as he picks off the last one and ties it up 3-3 for Silent but Deadly.
Yeah, that... Well, that couldn't have gone any better for Silent but Deadly if they had planned it. Mob Squad literally shooting themselves in the foot.
exploding themselves in the foot.
Exploding themselves right in the foot. Bonic is a newer addition to the Mob Squad team. I think he's been playing in the ESL version of Mob Squad to sort of warm up to league play. I think this might be his first league game with Mob Squad. So I think we're seeing 2 new players play or play in the same game. Yeah, for their respective teams.
Yeah, Bonic is definitely a newer name to that squad.
And he still might have a bit of a ways to go to catch up to the strategies of the team, although it's hard to say if he was really at fault there. I do think he was holding a grenade he meant to toss when he was down, so.
That is the worst kind of death, to have a nade in your hand and then go down and then drop it and kill yourself and a teammate.
Yeah, that's probably one of the worst feelings ever, especially if you see it happening. It's even worse if you see it happening. But yeah, Silent but Deadly now having their second sort of comeback play. It was their second comeback map in as many maps against Mob Squad here. All they got to do is hold this defense, and they've taken the series, and not only that, but taken the series away from Mob Squad on their map choice in map 2.
Silent but Deadly is 2 ranks down in the overall rankings in comparison to Mob Squad. Take a look at the overall MMR in the matchup today. It is 1200 versus 1210. So not actually that big of an MMR gap, although they are separated by 2 rankings. That means SBD could bump up 2 or 3 spots in the ranks after this W. If they get the W, sorry.
Keeping that score line pretty tight is going to save Mob Squad.
Yeah, for sure.
A bit of a plummet, that's for sure. So I think the 5-3 and the 4-3 here is tight enough. They just have to make sure that they either take the 3rd map, or if they don't manage to grab it, that they keep that score tight as well. And that should save them a pretty hefty amount of MMR loss, if they can pull it off. But we'll see what happens here. Mob Squad still has the opportunity. We're talking like Mob Squad's already lost.
I know.
Mob Squad still got the opportunity here to mount their offensive push. They have probably one of the worst objectives to make that final comeback on the furthest south objective in the garage. But we'll see what they can do here. They've definitely shown that they are masters of their domain on Suburbia.
The passive style of defense from Silent but Deadly, not even moving out of spawn house. No need to, I guess. They're going to really wait for Mob Squad to push up, force them to properly smoke and clear out the objective area before pushing it. And look at this, another bush spot from Rush of Light.
One down, right side of garage.
And Beluga with some misinformation, taking some shots out towards Vortex. Thought he had confirmed those. Enigma catches out House over by APC. Beluga still trying to find a Vortex on this corner, but can't seem to get him. The smokes are out in force. But are they well placed? Vortex using these bushes to disguise himself, blending in as he finds Bluega. Now the shots ringing out elsewhere as Dr. Sean suppresses through smoke, and Mob Squad inch their way forward. Will they be ready for Rush of Light? Also tucked into a bush. Doesn't seem like it. Plots peeks around. Rush of Light still doesn't take shots. Almost team kills Semper.
I could end up saving him.
Yeah.
Oh no, he is gonna recommit to this lane push. Yeah, that was the save that he needed. Little equipment toss there. Looks like he's trying to give a mag to Semper, but Semper's gone already. Semper's in the center house.
Goes unnoticed, and now Plots continues his movement here. Rush of Light spots him and takes him down. And then rotates around waiting for Semper to come out of the doorway.
Now here is where being a new player can really be punishing for you in a situation like this. Phonic was really disconnected from the rest of that offensive push, kind of hanging around in the back, looking to find a pick on, you know, potentially an aggressive defense. He's not gonna run into that, and basically his whole team gets wiped before he makes his approach here to lane 2. But now,
Got him.
making a bit of a comeback here is call out from Semper. Gives him the ability to grab that kill on the objective.
I got him. Yeah.
You got an extra mag?
Rush of Light now definitely aware of Semper's position and their rotation, but 4Q with the team kill.
That's huge. Rush of Light going down was their ace in the hole, really, on their defense. The rest of these guys their positions are known. They know that they're at the objective building. And not if you heard Enigma, they're trying to keep 4Q locked in after that team kill, because you could kind of hear him definitely upset about that.
They've got the angles covered pretty well. If they have an additional smoke, just dropping it into the driveway could be huge for them. Semper finds 4Q in the front door. Now it's just up to the last 2 members in the spawn house, Dr. Sean and Enigma, to hold this down. If Phonic can prone through the APC, he might be low enough to get past Enigma's line of sight here. I don't think Enigma can actually see the street here on camera 2. It doesn't look like he can. I think that's exactly what he's going to do.
I'm watching left side. There was nobody else.
I think he did spot out Phonic. Going quite fast, prone. Inches his way over there, and
I don't think it matters. I don't know what he can do from this position. Phonic laying some shots down. They've got to rotate.
I think
and
Phonic's
get
shooting
eyes
was
on OBJ.
Phonic's shooting was the worst choice there. Semper catches out Sean from the middle, and they do have a great entry point onto objective here. They're looking to take this to map number 3. They don't want this series to be over.
Will you shut the fuck up? I'm gonna go down there and kill you.
Semper and Rush of Light yelling at each other across the wall.
Meanwhile, Phonic inching his way forward, goes down to Enigma, and Semper here throwing what could have been the comeback, nearly throwing as he confirms the kill over the wall. Took some rounds on the shoulder, somehow didn't go down. Enigma almost finding the kill, and now it's a 3v3, or a 1v1. Oh, and I think Semper's out of ammo. That's why he, yeah. That's why he was pistoling. I was wondering why he was confirming.
He has got 35 seconds left. Enigma should have seen that cross. Yeah, he is aware. I think, yeah, he should have caught him. Well, maybe not. Maybe he didn't spot him over that car. And now Semper's got this approach through lane 1, but they only got 20 seconds. There's not a whole lot of time left.
He's got a clip.
Enigma's just got to tuck in.
He's got a clip in his, found a fresh round. Found a fresh mag. Enigma peeks the corner. And the trade, silent but deadly, comes out on top and takes the series.
2 trade wins in 1 game.
Sorry.
What?
Sleepy.
What? Yeah, Sleepy is, he's going to go on vacation now.
No, it's no really mod ruling there. It is what it is. It's how the game rolls out. You have these 1v1s and these trade scenarios that roll out, and silent but deadly literally inching their way ahead in victory both maps.
Yeah, both of those were come from behind wins that they definitely earned. I mean, they really fought for those wins. That was a very, very solid play by SBD.
It was like different styles of team almost. Like when they lost, they lose so quickly. like Mob Squad would kind of roll over them, and then when they were able to win, it was like they were playing so much differently, playing slower, not playing into the hand of the fast-paced Mob Squad. And now, I mean, you just pick whatever you want for map number 3. Maybe we'll go to Snow Peak. Who knows? Snow Peak? Snowdrift? What? Snow Peak?
Snow Peak, yeah.
I had it right there.
interesting match so far, but really, just really good.
Yeah.
Really good matchup between these two teams. I mean, down to 3-3 both times.
Interesting to watch. I'm not gonna throw out that they're really good. We've seen far too many team kills in this series. You know, I mean, that stuff you just can't have that happen as much as it has.
We could do like
It costs you maps and it costs you rounds. And, you know, I think it does have to, you do have to factor in the new player element coming in and having that unfamiliarity with your team. You're not sure how people play. You're not sure how maybe House normally pushes forward and is aggressive on certain corners. And it's hard. It is hard, especially if you're a new player, to come into any team and mesh and mold well with them right away. It's a challenge.
Yeah, and I mean, rewatching the tape, definitely going to be a big boost to
absolutely.
that, so you can see the mistakes you made. So they'll be able to shore it up a little bit later. And you know, they put up a good fight. Silent but Deadly has been, you know, doing great across the league. It's been really great watching them sort of come up in the last couple of weeks and take on some of these sort of, you know, mid to high tier teams and either take them down or make it a real close fight. So I think they definitely deserve the win. I mean, a lot of the team kills we've been seeing have been on the Mob Squad side. I can't remember a ton of Silent but Deadly ones. I think there was a bunch of almost team kills, and then that one round on Suburbia, which was pretty hard to watch. Pretty hard.
We're going to go to Bazaar for map number 3. Silent but Deadly's map choice. Again, definitely one of the, probably the, aside from Snow Peak, the third most open map available. Although there is still plenty of close quarters opportunities for Mob Squad to take advantage of. And actually, Mob Squad is going on offense first, so I wonder if Silent but Deadly picked Volk. Or if Mob Squad chose Marsoc.
Yeah, I mean, I guess at this point, you want to be in a good position to try to milk as many points out of this MMR win as possible, right? A Silent but Deadly. It kind of makes sense. Give Mob Squad their second choice. I don't know. I don't think Silent but Deadly is going to be able to grab Bazaar away from Mob Squad here. I did say that about Suburbia, but I was almost right. So I'm gonna keep that prediction rolling. I think Mob Squad can find it here and grab themselves this final map win. This is definitely another one of their strong maps, but I don't know. I think it is also going to come down to objectives, right? A little bit of that is just luck in what you get. So we'll see what they end up getting here. But man, what a series it's been so far. I do want to quickly just say thank you to a couple of the subs that have come in since the beginning there. I think Miracle Dev handed out gift sub there to Polinas. We appreciate that as always, but now we are ready to jump into this first round of map 3. Silent but Deadly
let's go, boys.
celebrating quite a bit, as they should, but not quite over yet.
I mean, they could... This is a great win for them. You want to take advantage of your wins. To have a good scoreline on this final map is important. Dr. Sean catches out Semper early, and if Mob Squad is able to take this map strongly, they'll be the leaders in points. And that's going to definitely hurt how much you come away with in the end. Dr. Sean confirming that first pick he had.
It's a tough pick to make as well, but definitely want to make sure that is down. It's an easy res.
2 go down in succession. Enigma finds plots, and 4Q grabbing one for himself, and now it's a 2v5 for Mob Squad, Bluega, and Phonics. Phonics rotates around, maybe trying to turn it into a 5v3.
We got shot from across market. I'm to your right if you can get me.
It's going to be a tough res. He's got to move quickly. Gets spotted out. He does find Rush of Light there.
Surprised Rush didn't see that res or drop back from that position. It is definitely a tough one to defend from.
I think he was blocked by the that stack of cement pallets there. Wasn't quite able to see the body.
You're right. Yeah, that's why he couldn't confirm it either.
Mm-hmm.
House and Bluega prepping the push onto objective. Smoke's getting tossed. Bluega getting right here on the corner. Catches out Enigma. Now it's a 3v3. Dr. Sean, meanwhile, inching his way out, getting a little bit over-aggressive. Phonic able to catch his backside. Completely exposed and a 3v2 for Mob Squad with 3 left. Scratch that a 2v2 as Vortex flanking around the backside catches 1. Can he get more?
Q finds STB House on that aggressive rotation into the objective, and now Mob Squad able to, or sorry, Silent but Deadly able to bring it back again. They had it, they lost it, and they had it again. Now it's all up to Phonic here.
Here's Vortex on the comms. Shots miss the head, and Phonic peeks up for some shots of his own. Nearly goes down by 4Q, and he's caught between 2 defenders.
Oh, I don't think he's going to be aware of Vortex's position here. No, he definitely is not. He's able to rotate around there on that East Street, grab himself that kill. Simon Badeli grab that first defensive round. Yeah, that's a good example of awareness that I think takes a long time to develop in this game, right? Just joining a team and playing a lot does a lot for you, but having that sort of that mental map of where your defenders could possibly be and what their possible rotations could be is what saves a lot of players. And Phonic there had focused a little bit too hard on a position that was not likely a place that a defender was going to repeat. And they were able to capitalize on that. But yeah, Mob Squad there, they were looking real good for a second. They really evened it up quite well. They are never out of the running until they're all dead. So that's, I think, Silent but Deadly. They're breathing a little sigh of relief as they grab that first defensive round. Now it's up to Mob Squad to hold here, and they're going to need a cap, right? That's really what's going to turn it around. They either need to win an offense and a defense, or best case scenario, grab a cap and try to even the scoreline. They don't want this to go to a 3-3.
No, they certainly do not. That would be... that would be probably likely, really, the way these series have been hashed out. I was going to say, I mean, I was thinking Mob Squad could potentially take this map for something. 4-1, 4-2. That way they could get the scoreline back onto their side. I don't know. Silent but Deadly are looking good. It's been a fun series to watch.
Yeah, they've just been finding. They've been finding a really good counter to a lot of Mob Squad's tactics so far. And usually, what's interesting is that it takes them a couple rounds, right? Like they'll lose a round or two, sort of feel out what Mob Squad tends to play, and then adjust for it and bring it back on the back half of each map. So, I mean, that's what we saw twice now. This time they were just a step ahead of them, but only just so. Mob Squad there, real close to pulling that one back, and we'll see if they can do the same thing on offense.
Will indeed. They have the... Is that the west spawn? Southwest spawn. We'll see if they rotate around that side or go for the long east rotation.
$91, $57, $450.
Look at this. The aggression from Mob Squad already causing shots to get thrown around with 5:30 on the clock still. Plots getting up here, getting into this mini courtyard early. Definitely slows up Silent but Deadly.
Yeah, I hear he's in, that blue 3-4.
Shot did ring out for him. Vortex now hunting. And the hunting pays off.
That's a
Plots
rundown, boys.
going down on that aggressive positioning. STB House with a quick answer back finds Dr. Sean. Pushing through the courtyard there.
It's such a risky way of playing. You know, it does pay off sometimes. You know, you get those kills, you get that pick, but to be checking certain angles like that and putting yourself exposed into windows and, you know, it's against a diligent team, it's much harder to do. Enigma here catching out Semper, trying to rotate and get over aggressive. Diligence from Silent but Deadly paying off. We go into a 4v3.
Alright, guys, you want to try and move up a little bit further, please?
Now, Vortex here has got a pretty difficult approach. Sandwiched between Bluega and STB House. Blue is peeking this little corridor on the wall. Doesn't quite catch Vortex, but we'll see if he's ready for this position. It's really common for a lot of teams on this objective to hold this courtyard down.
Oh, he heard him too. And that seems to be the key here for a lot of these picks, giving away locations by trying to be over-communicative. Vortex pushing in. Phonic finds Enigma. Vortex does take some shots on the backside from House, and House is pushing in here. Vortex with his back to House goes down with a nade toss. Rush of Light trying to get onto objective, and Cap getting picked up by Phonics on the backside, and Silent but Deadly down to just 4Q.
He's in a good position. He should have heard that call out to his defender. He's got to stay quiet. He's got to stay low. Now the rotation comes out from House. He should have heard those footsteps. The shots ring out towards Phonic.
He gets Phonic somehow. 4Q going around the upstairs defender. I think STB House dropped down for a second there. And 4Q, oh my gosh. 4Q may be able to clutch this. But STB House is tucking in, and now he's waiting. The proper thing for 4Q to do is be what House did. Drop back and rotate out, but House able to catch out the aggression from 4Q and take the round for Mob Squad. Ties it up 1-1.
Yeah, that was quite a series there at the end. Lots of back and forth trades. That defensive rotation back onto the objective got them quite a few kills. I think what's interesting to note, and I haven't tested this in the last week or so, but I believe you can actually cap the objective from the upstairs.
I saw somebody trying to do that in the corner the other day.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think there is a spot up there that does allow you to cap. They must just not have been aware of that particular position, but you know, now rewatching the cast, I'm sure they'll know. But yeah, that could have been 2 points. I'm kind of surprised that House wasn't scared of that potential cap either. Maybe he wasn't aware of that position. Or maybe it just doesn't exist anymore. Who knows? It's been a week since I've really spent the time on it. But yeah, that was a great play on both sides. Now teams are evened up again on this third map. And Mob Squad's got to find that momentum and like you said, move that scoreline needle in their direction a little bit. Try to even it up before the end of the series. Less than the MMR blow. Hopefully come away with a map win.
See if they can scrounge it out. Grab themselves an offensive round as they get a quick spawn in the northwest. Doesn't look like they're going to utilize that quick spawn, though. They do have the smokes prepped, and they're sending 2 to rotate around east, maybe come up the middle. And this is the push, the early push from Mob Squad. The smokes are coming out. Will they be good enough? And does Silent but Deadly have any vision on this street? It doesn't look like it. Bulega catches out Vortex on a rotation, and this is going to be a free street cross, and they can crash right up to objective. Plots does catch out one, trying to go to the scaffold. He's going to send the rest of Mob Squad that are there to try and deal with it, most likely.
Now Bluega here on the west side making this approach. Rush of Light has got to be careful about how high he peaks up. This is not an entirely uncommon spot, but now there's just so much offense on this side, and he's making the call-outs, making his position known.
Yeah, all the while, Enigma missed the rotation on the east. He missed that cross, but he was also missed. So Enigma's still there on scaffolding. He may be able to pick out House, but House was ready for him. The call-out came in earlier that he was there and catches him out. Now we're into a 3v5 as Mob Squad start to surround objective. And Rush of Light seems to be keyed in on somebody behind him. Does see Plots and misses the shots. And Plots charging up, catches the back of Rush of Light. 4Q rotating around, crashing in towards objective. Shots coming at him as he catches out STB House. Now it's a 1v4.
Yeah, House punishing those 2 defenders on the street and in the blue room was definitely a big deal there for Mob Squad, and they were able to capitalize on the confusion, that nice even spread of the offense they had. Guys, they made it across on the west side, really making it obvious why you never want somebody to make it across that street. 4Q finds Plots on the backside, though. Now it's just a 1v3.
They're trying to smoke objectives so they can come in with the cap. I don't know if that's so practical anymore. Bulega now coming in the backside. Looks like he's going to try and catch out Plots. Or sorry, 4Q, as he does. And Mob Squad taking the lead 2-1 for the 3rd time in the series.
Yeah, and that was the offensive win that they needed. Now they're just going to have to be worried about holding the defenses and riding this wave out, shutting Silent but Deadly's 3rd map down, hopefully, well, as completely as you can, having already given up 1 point, but definitely would be a nice little feather in their cap at the end of this very well played series by both sides.
Had some great tense moments in a couple of these rounds. These caps and these attempts are getting real interesting. You can see that Mob Squad wanted they had the cap on mind there, putting out the smokes, and they just couldn't get him quite right. I think they probably still could have capped under the nose of 4Q, but that's so risky.
Yeah, I mean, they had the correct setup on the south side, right? You always want, if you're going to be camping on the south side of that objective, you want to have somebody on the south wall sort of watching for the rotation out of that objective building. They had the proper setup. I just think that they were worried about... I don't think they had the proper count because House got a kill. I don't think he called out. So I think they may have been operating with the assumption that there were 2 still alive. Yeah, again, Silent but Deadly saved a little bit there in not allowing that cap through. I mean, if you think about it, there's been a couple of situations here where Silent but Deadly should have been capped on, but we're not.
Yeah.
And the scores were so close that had Mob Squad gotten those caps, this game would have been polar opposites.
Yeah.
It's been that kind of series where just, you know, maybe one player's mistake or two players'
One less team
miscoordination.
kill.
Exactly. Just enough to turn the tide in the direction of SBD. But, I mean, that's not to say that they haven't been playing a hell of a game.
Yeah. Been a great series. The overall scoreline is 10-8 right now. SBD have won the series, but we always play the third map out here at the VRML because we have something called matchmaking rating. And that's determined by how well you do in the full series, the entirety of it. So SBD still need to do well here to get the most out of their win. Mob Squad can lighten the loss if they grab map number 3, and they're looking good so far. As Noman has said, the comeback is shaping up. Now they have to defend, win this Volk round, as they have been doing quite well for the most part in this series. I guess they have been capped on twice. Once?
Alright, well, I'll go west
Twice.
for now, then.
They did well on Suburbia. I'll say that. See if they can keep it up here on Bazaar.
We should be seeing a pretty similar strategy here for the cross, but the smoke's not quite as coordinated as we saw on the Mob Squad side, but in sheer numbers.
Yep, definitely mini
They're going
market.
to try to get across here. Dr. Sean does make that cross onto the street. Enigma finds Phonic at the little market car. Semper trades
down,
with
that's two
Dr.
down, two
Sean.
down.
Dr. Sean's still revivable, and now the objective's pretty open.
3 are down for Mob Squad. 1 res available, could turn it into a 5v2 rush. Is pushing up towards Sean. Luega could have had an opportunity to catch a couple out if he peeked through that window, but he doesn't. And Plots finds 4Q. Now it's a 4v2. Can't shoot through that glass. But Willie ready for the corner. He is. Sean goes down. They still can't shoot through the glass.
Yeah, you can't shoot through that. You can't do it.
Luega finds 3 on the corner. Definitely evening the odds for the last defender, but he gets caught out by Enigma. Silent but Deadly tied up 2-2.
Pretty funny
Yeah, that
exchange
was.
there with Blue. Not only does he scold him, but then he also kills him. As
Real insult to injury there.
yeah. I mean, that was a good push there by Silent but Deadly, but again, slowed up a little bit with the downs. I don't know if they just didn't have accurate count or didn't communicate it out to the team. But if they had kept pushing that angle, they could have caught it. Bluega didn't even rotate into that building for a solid 15 seconds, and it was totally wide open for an offensive approach. But again, seeing that through caster vision's easy to say, and usually with the map on the line, you tend to play it a little bit more conservative. So nonetheless, they picked themselves up a Marsoc round, and now again look to swing the advantage back in their direction. I mean, this is just, you know, what I like to call a real back and forther. This is just a constant power struggle between these two teams. Mob Squad takes the lead there for a round. Now Silent but Deadly answers back. So glad we decided to cast it. Good matchup.
Been a solid duel today for sure.
I think that's one of those things about MMR that, you know, as much as people tend to complain about it sometimes or not understand it, this is what happens when MMR is in play for the bulk of a season, and now we get into these matchups that are definitely more refined, right?
Yeah.
Like these teams are actually, they have that rating for a reason, and the matchups between them should be this even. So this is a good example of, you know, two very different teams in a similar position in the standings that definitely challenge each other very well. So
Yeah, absolutely. The MMR system working well, and that's one of the reasons I liked playing so much in the VRML when I did, because you always were going to get a quality matchup. Very rarely did you get blown out or, you know, really not have a good time. It was more often than not that you were competing against someone of equal skill level, a team of equal skill level, and the matchups then are a lot more fun than if you're rank 20 going up against rank 1.
Yeah, absolutely. You never want a competitive lobby to feel like a public lobby.
No.
I think that is the key difference in this. You would never see this kind of play in a public lobby, in a public setting. So definitely a great example of why the MMR system is pretty solid. Now Silent but Deadly looking to take this defensive round, keep their lead alive after grabbing it back there in the last round. Staying relatively tucked in, no aggression here. It's a very sort of beginners-esque defense that they've got set up.
Lots poking his nose around here. On the west, trying to find some action through the walls. Not going to be able to spot much. Everybody else is sort of... I don't know. I'm seeing different defenses from these teams today. Usually you'll have one positioned at least in mini courtyard, maybe one in blue room. But they're all very tucked back. You know, much more focused on that north side. See how this defense pans out for them.
And a very nice nade there from 4Q. Catches Bluega. Bluega not able to land the shots on him as he came up over the top. That seemed like almost like an insulting grenade. He just kind of tossed it right at his face.
It was right at him. An insta-kill too, so no res available, no chance of comms, and Mob Squad in a 4v5 early.
Rush of Light there had a nice little nade Arsemper almost ran into, but he's able to make it across to the little market here through this smoke. And now Dr. Sean gonna have to be real careful. Rush of Light luckily able to catch him out nice and early, and Mob Squad down to 3. 4Q finds House.
Sorry, dude. Couple confirmed.
And the confirm does come out, and now Mob Squad just left with 2. One member in the far north. Lots making his way up the street on the western side.
Yeah, he got across. I wonder if there's any gaps in this defense that Plots can exploit. I do see Vortex, as long as he's checking this lane. I don't know. Yeah, Sean also has a line of sight here. There's no real chance of Plots sneaking his way into a cap here.
But these smokes could definitely change the game. If they block the right sight line, Dr. Sean might be forced to rotate here. Oh, maybe not. Maybe that smoke's still a little too recessed, so he's going to choose to go through the little market.
Yeah, using him as a distraction to draw the eye of Sean. Rush of Light should spot out Plots, but he's hard to identify. Does see the shifting in color between the pallets and finds a pick, and now a 1v5 for Phonic.
Vortex making a call out there. Phonic aware of his position, and now he's watching for him. Does find Vortex on the corner. The 1v4. He's got a long way to go. Enigma still watching this far north approach. Phonic does see him early, but doesn't land the shots. A little trade comes out there, and now Phonic's not in a great position. Yeah, callouts coming out there from Silent but Deadly to rotate and engage this remaining member. And Phonic able to find Enigma with that headshot, but he's got his back sticking through the wall there. Dr. Sean's going to find that kill on him. And Silent but Deadly are going to go up another defensive round.
They're looking to take all 3 maps here. Coming up on map point for map number 3. Definitely not not the greatest scenario for Mob Squad. It's just going to be tough to come out ahead in this in this series now, and I don't know. This is really where morale starts to hit and can cause you a few extra points. If they can grab this map, like I said, it's a nice little. I don't know. We've been saying it, but we'll see. It's been a lot of back and forth, so if Mob Squad just stayed diligent, maybe get aggressive on their defense, they could catch Silent but Deadly off guard.
Yeah, absolutely. And there again, I think that player awareness bit them again. You know, that sticking your body parts through walls is another common thing that League players are acutely aware of, and you know, really only through the forge of League play can you be punished for not being aware of your body at all times. And there's mounting himself a neat little comeback, picking up 2 on the north side, but. Yeah, so far Mob Squad has gotten the short end of the straws. They need to find this defensive win and then make an offensive round happen to try to take this map away. I think they still can do it. I mean, they are a team that definitely does not roll over either. Silent but Deadly's been sort of clawing for their points this game. And I think Mob Squad can still turn it around. But yeah, the question really is the morale there? Is the cohesion between the team members still there after losing the series?
I'm surprised to see so much time being taken between rounds here. Towards the end of the series. Does seem like Mob Squad want this map. Maybe hashing out some sort of plan of attack.
In this case, it's got to be a plan of defense. That's what I'm hoping for.
Not if you're Mob Squad.
Definitely not as much initial energy on the Mob Squad side as there is on the Silent but Deadly side, as we've been noticing the back half of this cast. Semper got himself into a nice little spot and is able to pick up 4Q, but Enigma answers back very quickly and evens it up with a 4v4 scenario.
Is this whole squad going to be ready for Plots, who has pushed his way up into the middle? Dr. Sean does trade with him, and he is resable, so they are ready. They do catch him out. Bluega peeking the corner. He goes down. And aggression from Mob Squad not paying off here. Oh, 4v2.
Yeah, they are down to 2 members. They've got to do the confirm on Plots.
Can't seem to find his body as he radios into his squad locations.
House is able to grab Vortex there. While still making those call-outs. House now grabs Dr. Sean, and very quickly, this becomes a 2v2. This is one of those main reasons you want to make sure your kills are confirmed. A lot of those positions were given away by Plot's call-outs.
Fuck, man.
House now worried with these smokes coming out of the potential of a push onto objective, tossing some nades over the smokes and getting a little aggressive. Phonic catches out Rush of Light. I think Enigma saw House rotate.
There's the kill Enigma needs, and now, if he'd have just utilized those smokes to cross, Phonic was absolutely blind to that cross. And now the smokes have dissipated. Enigma now rotating around right into Plots' vision, so a call-out should be coming out very quickly. Guess he must be expecting a flank of some sort, but none is going to come out as Phonic is the only one left capable of defending the objective, and that is exactly what he's doing. Enigma's got plenty of time to work with, though. 3 minutes. And I think that north approach is going to be the way to go.
Not if Plots calls it all out.
Yeah, you'll have to hope he bleeds out before you go to the north. Or you just shoot him, you know, with your gun. There it is. He just had to have a caster tell him. I know the feeling. Callouts there come out. So his position is known, but really it doesn't matter at this point. He's got enough time to make any approach. What he doesn't have is a great count of defensive members left yet. I do think he is operating on the assumption that there are still potentially 2, if not 3, remaining members. There was quite a few trades that came out there early on in the series, but now he's working with 2 minutes left.
Is this the last one left alive for?
Oh, it's Phonic.
Yeah, I thought it was Vortex too, and I was going to say it might be newcomer versus newcomer, but it's not, and we'll see if Phonic is able to hold the line here for his team.
His positioning is not ideal for this objective. At this point, anybody coming through that northwest courtyard could have already crossed and been in that room capping. On this objective, when you're the last man standing, you want to be rotating as quickly as you can, get as many sight lines as you can. I mean, the map is technically on the line, but at this point in the series, it really shouldn't matter. To get 2 extra points put up against you versus 1 is pretty much equally as devastating.
Minute 15. Sorry, a minute 5 now. As some smokes start to come out. I wonder. It's a long rotation for 50 seconds.
It could work out in his benefit. It does cause the defense to sort of panic, right? They are constantly expecting that push to occur, so it can force them out of a whatever spot they chose, potentially. So it could work out for Enigma here, but now the smoke's not offering any real benefit. His watch has beeped. He's only got 23 seconds left. It's looking like Mob Squad could still pull it off if Phonic stays tucked in.
Looking right over the head of Phonic as he stay crouched behind the window. 10 seconds, and Enigma's not going to get there in time. And Phonic, as long as he stays tucked, will get this one for his squad. We'll go into the 3-3 final round, number 7. To decide map number 3. Lots of 3s getting thrown around.
So many 3s. We've gotten to 3-3 3 times now. This is it's
that round ended on 3 seconds, so it would be perfect, but it didn't.
Yeah, well, you can't have everything you want, I guess. Yeah, I mean, that is pretty much as lucky as it gets for the defense there. Lots of opportunities for the offense to make a push across in a cap, but a little, again, I think that was just not having an accurate count of defensive players. And it's always easy from the casting desk to, you know, backseat Onward. But a good set nonetheless, and Silent but Deadly is poised now to take all 3 maps away if they can hold this East Hotel objective on defense. That's what they need. And you know what? I think at this point,
it's anyone's ball game.
It starts to wear on you. I mean, we are in hour 2 basically right now of this matchup, and these guys are definitely feeling it. So
we've been sitting, you know, we haven't done anything. These guys have been crouching and working the core for 2 hours.
Dude, I wish I need a standing desk for casting.
I need a standing desk. Great.
Yeah, well, just bring mine from work. I'll just load it up into the back of his truck. Just need to borrow this for a minute.
No problem.
Yeah, a great series overall. this couple seconds of downtime. Again, want to thank everybody for coming to hang out with us on this Thursday evening. There is going to be, I think there are games going on. There are no official VRML casts happening for those games, but there will be some individual players streaming their point of view. So if you're still interested in checking out all this Onward action, go check out the Discord and see who's showing off their talents today. But right now we are in the map decider round. The game of threes.
We do have a slow spawn for Mob Squad, although you can definitely still play this fast.
Watch out for the free fire across Bazaar. Well, he's gonna do a good job.
164691.
Enigma catching out House early. House was ready for Enigma there, but didn't win the trade.
On for Nate comes out, but it's a little too short, and the res should be available here.
I took one down. He was resable. I tossed a grenade. I don't know if he's still up or not.
Now this is the time to get some smokes into those buildings. Get the defense moving.
Taking stock of where all the silent but deadly angles are. Like most of Mob Squad is just coming up straight up the center, not really bothering on the east or west side. I guess mostly east would be your push, but
Vortex does find Buega through that alley angle. Now Semper looking for that refrag. He's put himself in quite a dangerous situation, and he's gonna replace that smoke. Vortex is gonna pick up Semper, getting a little bit too greedy, trying to look for that kill there. Now Mob Squad has to work with 3.
smokes are out. Phonic is pushing. Let's see, the elbow of 4Q catches him out. Enigma taking down plots, and we're into a 4v2.
I'll look over there.
He's not going to have an easy approach here without utility. Phonic now pushing up through this dark alley in the north. He does have tab out. I think he's going to be looking for this cap, but Vortex, that eagle eye, going to find Phonic.
3 possible.
Making that approach now. STB House, the last remaining member of Mob Squad, silent but deadly, poised to take all 3 maps away from Mob Squad in this series. And there it is. Vortex is going to clean that up for his team. He ends that with a 9-4. Enigma 10-4 on his team. These guys really put in quite the work today on both sides.
Yeah.
Phonic picking up 7 for his team. STB 8. I mean, just great players all around, but that is the series.
It was a fun one to watch, to say the least. A lot of back and forth, mistakes made on both sides, and teams capitalizing on those mistakes, resulting in some exciting plays. And definitely a lot to learn from by watching this VOD, I think, if you're either one of those squads, or if you're a new player. I do recommend you give this channel a follow, because there's always going to be more action here, and you can learn a lot by watching and listening to the input of your favorite local caster.
Absolutely.
I think that's going to be it from us this afternoon, though. My name is NightFiree with 2 E's. If you're interested in getting any more action, head on over to vrmasterleague.com/onward, where you can sign up for Discord, Twitter, Twitch, all that good stuff. My co-caster, Noman with a 4. We will see you later this week. Don't miss it.
Good night, everybody.